everybody. Welcome to Actual Leigh. It's my podcast. We're here with Brehn, who is my son, and he's wearing a cool shirt. I highly approve of this shirt.
Yeah. Woo.
They're having their final tour, the retirement tour, gonna be in San Francisco in like September, and then they will never tour again because they old men's.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of feelings about the fact that I probably won't be able to go, and I want to go because
Yeah.
they give good concert. But I hope they do like a recording, like they used to do like tour video, like DVDs or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't want a DVD, but if I could get a file, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
I think I hurt somebody's feelings the other day because I was saying that like I can't really see movies until they're available on streamer or whatever. And he's like, yeah, I usually wait and just buy them on DVD. And I was like, yeah, I can't really imagine buying things on DVD considering they go bad.
Ye-
Like,
we- Buying stuff on DVDs nowadays is like, why?
yeah.
Why would you do that? You
I
could
mean,
just get the
even,
file.
even back in the day, I would just get DVDs from Netflix and rip them, and
Hey,
then I have the digital
exactly.
file which
Yeah.
doesn't degrade.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like,
Yeah. So, in case some of you did not know, CDs and DVDs go bad. That data will degrade, and then they
it's
don't play.
it's really funny people don't know that. There's
Yeah.
this like disconnect. People are like, oh, VHS is going bad. They're like, oh, of course. But then CDs and DVDs are like,
They're forever.
oh,
No, they're not.
oh,
Yeah.
especially CDs.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my
Yeah.
god, they die real quick
Yeah,
compared to
I didn't know that was a thing until I found out it was a thing. And I was very sad because I had a very big like CD collection. But thankfully I had ripped my CDs.
yeah.
So, because I've always been inclined towards the digital. And there was that website mp3.com back in the day that if you had a CD, you could pop it in, it would recognize you had it, and then it would give you access to the MP3s, which you could then save. And if they didn't have it in their catalog, then you could add it to the catalog there. So it was this thing that's probably super illegal now, but
Yep. They probably got deleted.
yeah, you're like, no, you cannot do. So let's talk about the RV.
Oh god.
So the RV had a leak in the bedroom slide out, which I've talked about, and Breen was like, "Oh, I can fix it." Probably feeling dread and horror on his insides as he offered to do the fix, and then now it's become like a whole thing to get done. So tell us about that.
Uh, uh, well, and good news, it's almost done. Um, the process to get there was awful though. The fix that we had found online, which seemed very simple, was made slightly less simple by the fact that the RV uh the RV I'm working on was just ever so slightly different than the one that was shown online. Not in many big ways, but just enough. Um like having to put stilts on the slide out, that way I could take the floor out and it wouldn't fall off of the RV. The framing was layered in a way where I had to put the stilts on first and then take it out from under the stilts, which is very counterintuitive, but it took a long time. And then all of the screws were like dead; they were like literally melted. I mean, it was like I was taking the screw out, and it was more likely the screw was going to break than come out. So it
Yeah.
was literally like get the screws that I could, and then rip the the frame off.
And also like it never stopped raining for like the longest time. So then
Yeah,
you ended up having to do like these little cement pads where the stilts could go because the ground was too soft to
Yeah, that too. I almost forgot about that. Yeah, I had to make little cement pads for the stilts because the ground was just too soft. And then uh, um, let's see. I got all the framing off, and I put the stilts up, and then I had to take the floor out, and that took forever because like a whole bunch of the screws were basically like that. I literally tried to screw it off, and the head of the screw would just like break off.
Yeah, they're
And
all
it's like, oh,
rusted through and stuff, right?
no, yeah. So now there's just a screw embedded in there that I can't take out. So I had to rip the floor out. But yeah, I can't rip too hard because then I might accidentally like, cause the slide out to fall on top of me.
Yeah.
And then, so I finally got the floor out, and the floor was just like, just fucked. I mean, like the wood was hardly wood, and there was like not snails, like slugs in it, literally in there, like laying their little egg clusters in there. And it was just like, ugh. Ugh.
Ugh.
It just had this like mildew smell that's like every time it wafted and hit, it would waft like down the property, like
It's
100
like
feet away.
it's like
You were
somebody that
smelling it.
never washes their taint, and every time they're sitting and they man spread, it just kind of like
You're just,
yeah, just hits you.
uh, but I took care of that, and I was like, okay, now's the easy part, right? Putting in the new floor. That shouldn't be too hard. Everything else sucked so much. This can't be that hard. So I got the wood, I got the ABS plastic, and I got just a little bit of foam that goes in between the wood and the carpet. I put it all together, and I was trying to get it in, and I literally spent like hours and hours and hours for like multiple weeks trying to get the fucking floor in, and it would not go in. So I finally had to ask Trey, one of Leigh's, I guess our friend, and he came over, and with the power of two grown men, we were able to finally get it in.
It still took you guys a while because
Yeah, and
yeah,
we had to use ratchets.
yeah.
Yeah, Trey likes to say I could have done it on my own. That's not true. It's not true. The ratchets did all work, but I needed someone to help me get it into place so I could do the ratchets.
Yeah, and like guide it because I know it was like getting stuck on stuff and
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a lot, but
yeah.
the floor is in now. Um, and then I was trying to screw it in, and I actually got longer screws than were originally in there, and they weren't long enough, so I had to go get 4-inch screws.
Wow.
I assume it's just like the there's probably water infiltration into where the screws were in the frame, and so that portion of the wood is probably just like not super good. Um, so I need the longer screws to like go further up into the frame.
Yeah.
But with the longer screws, the 4-inch screws, it's fine. Like it actually pulls up in and stays.
Okay.
Um, and then I was able to like walk on it, and it didn't give.
Nice.
So floor is good. And then I need to put the frames on, but I haven't done that yet because I've been cleaning them, because they literally have like layers of sealant that are so caked on that I'm having to use like a wood carving scraper to like scrape it off. And
Dang.
so I scraped off all the hard stuff, and now there's just this like basically like a thin layer over the entirety of it.
Uh,
I'm gonna have, because if it's there, it won't adhere correctly,
yeah.
and it will leave space for water to infiltrate.
Yeah. That's the like the bracket that goes between the wall and underneath the floor where the what the hell's that tape? The butyl tape goes
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, where the butyl tape goes. Yeah, it's the part that basically covers the crack between the floor and the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the one where I found that forum post where the guy was like, mine didn't have any butyl tape. Like it came from the manufacturer that way.
Yeah.
It sounds like mine, maybe it wasn't that it was lacking that, it was maybe that it hadn't been done well because it had all those layers, so it was just letting water in.
Yeah. I mean, it was definitely letting water in because most of the sealant was like gross sludgy rust color, and there was, even when I was taking it off, there was like these little pockets of water in the sealant.
Yeah.
So
Nasty.
yeah, I mean, it's probably just like the caulk along the edge of it probably hadn't been redone enough, and then water got in, and then it got resealed over it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I'm assuming just based on like the history of it that it was probably never done right to begin with. Like there was always a leak there. And
yeah,
yeah. It's I mean, I'm glad that it's at that tail end, although the next part's not going to be fun either, but that's less fun for me than you.
yeah,
Getting it ready, cleaning and hoping somebody wants to buy it.
yeah.
I mean, I feel like there's so much potential there for somebody who has the resources. If they know what they're getting, you know, and they want access to an RV that they can do some, because it needs some paint and stuff, you
Yeah.
know.
Do you have beetle tape, by the way?
There should be some either in the belly of the RV, either where the batteries are or in the belly where the food is. There should be a roll of it because I bought some.
Okay, because that needs to go in the in the corner of the brackets.
Hmm.
Yeah, because there was no beetle tape.
Okay,
Yeah, like it was just like sealant. There was no beetle tape.
that's weird. 'Cause that's literally supposed to be like butyl tape, like down there. So did you hear about the guy that put an eel in his butt?
No.
This guy, this guy in Vietnam, he put a 2 foot eel in his butt and then put a lemon so it couldn't get out, and it chewed through his intestines because they don't need a lot of oxygen to survive for quite a while. So, and
Man,
apparently
man,
this isn't like a first time
that's
or
that's awful. Man in Vietnam inserts live eel up his rear, punctures colon, and survives.
yep, yep. 31-year-old man is gonna have lifelong digestion issues because they had to.
A 26-inch eel. The eel is
Yep,
26 inches. That's
it's just
awful.
right. Yeah, I don't.
Why?
Yeah, it's like I understand that people get like itches in their brain to to do things. Like I wonder how that's going to feel, but how does someone look at an eel and think that's the thing I want to know what it feels like? Like that I don't my brain it do not compute. Especially
Right.
knowing the fact that it's going to want to, it's going to want to aliens its way out of you. It's going to nom nom, you know? Hope you had a really good orgasm before that
Yeah, it
happened. Yeah.
was literally they had to open up his abdomen to get it out. They weren't even able to get it out from his anus. They had to like cut him open.
Yeah,
And
because he put the lemon in the way and
it
just,
had bitten through the patient's rectum and colon and escaped into the abdominal cavity. So it escaped out of his rectum into like the area where all his organs are.
Yep. He's pretty lucky actually didn't do more damage.
Yeah. Yeah, after removing the eel, the doctors also extracted a lemon through the anus.
Just, but that guy did not anticipate being famous for that. I mean, his name's not on it, but who knows if that's true for the news in that area.
What the fuck?
I've been hanging on to that for a couple of weeks, waiting to talk to you.
Uh,
Hmm.
apparently, they have to perform surgeries pretty frequently to remove various objects from people's anuses, but this is the first case involving a living animal.
Yeah. Yeah, the article I read said that this was like thing. Um, but I mean, I don't know. There's that guy, the EMT guy that makes videos responding to things that people post. Like, and
Yeah.
he makes up those songs about the most recent one was the tentacle toy that's popular right now. And he was just like, release the Kraken.
How, okay, okay, not even why. How did he get it up there? That's a pretty big eel. Just lengthwise, how did he get it up there?
My assumption had been that he just once he got it started, it did the rest. It it just continued to move forward in the direction that you know what I'm saying?
No.
That might have been when it was the most satisfying for
Hmm,
him, you know?
that's
It's why do I have to think about it that much? I don't I hadn't thought about it that much. Now it's there. I'm there.
that's really awful.
It is.
Oh,
This is why we deserve to be cattle for our alien overlords.
don't stop that from happening.
No, it won't.
Do you think the eel, like, did they go like release the eel?
I don't know.
Because it was alive when they took it out.
Yeah. Or did they do like they do with dogs? Be like, nope, it's got a taste for human now.
It's gonna go up someone's rectum while they're swimming.
Yeah, and did the surgeon pull it out, or did they have like an animal person there to like take it out? Like,
I think in Vietnam the surgeon probably took it out.
yeah. Like, I wasn't trained for this, but okay.
Yeah.
So, do you remember it would have been when you were pretty small, but there was a case of a finger being found in the Wendy's chili. And
I
it was like a whole thing in San Jose and like
I do I'm aware of it post tense.
yeah,
Like
and then it was basically it was like bullshit.
yeah,
Like,
it
you
was a
know,
hoax.
and this woman has apparently gone on to get busted multiple times for um basically like doing other false claims. Like this is like her thing. It's like she keeps getting caught and she keeps like doing it anyways to try to get, you know, because it says here in 2013 she was sentenced to 2 years in prison after concocting another false claim. The year prior, she was arrested after she told police someone had shot her son in the ankle. In reality, her son had accidentally shot himself. Um, so like she just keeps doing it. But there was a New York Times story that they had a quote from her in it, and then later they had to remove her quote because um they realized who she was and that, you know, she had this history of, you
Yeah.
know, she basically her quote was she plans to vote for Mr. Trump in 2024 because I mean the border situation is out of control. That was what she said. Um so and then they were like, "Oh, she's the finger in the chili lady. We're gonna gonna remove that.
Yeah, a well-known liar.
Not like it's not like a psychological condition or something, to just keep being like,
Yeah, feels like it.
yeah, I'm just gonna lie in hopes that I can make some money. It's all.
My mom's cat.
Whoa, hello.
Come into the camera, say hello.
I love your curls.
Thanks. They're doing whatever. I don't know. They're in a mood.
He's just telling me about some guy in Vietnam who shoved the eel up his ass.
Several bad puns later.
Kind of in the same vein. So you know how there is that one, like, they were trying to be like the chess cheating scandal with like
up your butt.
Yeah, up the butt.
Yeah.
Do you think that now that idea has been brought into like the public mind, people are going to be doing that?
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna do what?
There's a chess cheating scandal where they claimed that, and this was like high levels, like two best chess players in the world kind of deal, and it claimed one of them cheated by having a vibrator up their ass.
Oh yeah, I kind of remember hearing about that.
Like, vibrate to tell them the correct moves kind of deal.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's
ridiculous.
There's no way to like verify that.
Right.
But now that it was a big thing, it's like, oh yeah, someone's gonna do it.
Yeah.
Not necessarily for chess, but like
something.
SATs, ACTs,
spelling bee.
Dude, I could totally see someone do it for like one of the tests, like a SAT. You'd literally just have a vibrator up your ass, and then like it can just vibrate the answers. One vibrates for A.
Oh, you know how they have the
B.
rings? Because some people they have rings specifically, so that way you can just go. So that way it's more concealed. What is it? No. Covert. So it's a lot more covert. So they could just be going up.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
They're just gonna have to start having like
you can clench to send the signal.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this one's A, and you clench once. This one's B, clench twice. C, clench thrice.
So you're saying that the one who is the one giving the answers is the one with the vibrator up the butt.
They both have one. They both have one of that.
Okay.
Or they have that. Okay. Oh, they both do. Yeah. I was thinking one has an app. Because they do have the vibrators that have the app, and then you can like control the vibe, and it responds to feedback.
With the app's supposed to know like the test questions.
I would just assume that if they were cheating like that somebody would have the answer thing, right?
I mean, if you have the answer ahead of time, it's easy. You just one up the rectum, one up the phone, just beep 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 beep.
People, they're just gonna have to start doing signal blockers. The person I was talking to yesterday for the podcast, he was saying that he knows someone that does because he does trivia nights, and he knows someone that when that person does trivia nights, he actually sets up a local area network that people have to connect to with their phones so that they can't get out on the internet. And then they actually have an app. So instead of writing the answers on paper, now you submit your answers through an app, and so you just use the local area network to do that, and then also it minimizes cheating because he can see if you drop off the network to go get answers.
People like having two phones, so
yeah. I mean, there's always ways around it, but it's just kind of cool, like that someone was like, I'm gonna try to like thwart the cheating.
Make it harder.
Yeah.
That's the good thing about trivia nights on cruise ships. You can't cheat. There's no internet access.
There's no internet on cruises?
No.
I'm not doing
that. Well, some of the, I guess the cheaper cruises, like I think some of the Caribbean ones where they're much more closer to land have internet, but at least the cruises I was on, the internet they had was like super expensive, and it was basically satellite internet, so it was hardly even capable of email. It was
Oh.
like you're gonna be waiting, you know, a good 10 minutes for your single email to load.
Wow. Yeah. No, I'm not doing any. I'm not doing any cruise. That
You
just
literally
doesn't.
just had to do all that sort of stuff on land. And considering
Yeah.
there was multiple times where it was like 3 days on sea, and it's like, oh yeah, 3 days on sea, no internet.
You are forced to deal with the other humans.
That's
I
why,
just slam my Kindle full of like books and
yeah, that's what most people did. It was like Kindle full books. I had my DS. And then it was, if it wasn't that, then it was people just drinking copious amounts of alcohol.
ugh, yeah. Okay, so there was an event, like a pick your own fruit event, and the birds, they had to cancel it because the birds came and ate all the fruit. Like
Oh,
it says an event where people pick their own cherries has been canceled after blackbirds feasted on the trees.
oh,
And
just,
people weren't mad. They thought it was cute.
it is cute, but also, I mean, rip.
Yep. It's just funny. They're just like they do it every year, have the event every year, but like the birds are just all nah, food, these are ours. Nom, nom, nom.
Not this year, guys.
Yeah. I'm curious if that's gonna become like a yearly thing, like they discovered it so that it's no longer gonna be
It
cherries for humans.
Yeah, that's usually how those things go. It's like, oh, ew, there's a lot of fruit here every year. We should come back around this area around the same time. It's gonna be like, who gets to it first, the birds or the humans?
Right? Yeah.
The issue with the birds too is they'll eat it before it's ripe. So you'll be waiting for it to get ripe. You come out there and it's like they're gone. It
Yep.
was like my raspberries were just like, I was like, they weren't even ripe yet, and the birds just come over and like, "Eh, me, me, me."
Yeah. I saw a video someone was like feeding the crows outside his window, and I was like, well,
Bad choice.
you're gonna
Choice.
have 20 years of crows screaming at you. Like
Yeah, it's cool until it's not.
yeah.
If you get lucky and you get the crows that like give gifts, like you might get something cool, but you're probably just gonna get shiny garbage.
Yeah.
That's
And you're
usually
and
aluminum
you're still
foil
gonna
and
get
stuff.
verbally abused.
Yeah, yeah, and you're still gonna get verbally abused.
Yeah. I just know the crows at my house like to steal people's lunches. So
Yeah.
there'd be like burrito all over my backyard.
Yeah.
Little terrorists.
They're really cool. They're lucky. They're so cool.
Yep.
They're little monsters.
Oh, I wanted to talk about the vegetable oil. Are you cheating? What is that?
I don't.
What is
You
that?
hear it?
Yeah.
It's a hex bug.
Oh.
I
It was like it sounded like a vibration, and then it started to sound almost like a type of feedback or something. It's weird. Yeah, so yeah. There are gonna be people being like, "What is this? What is?"
there's it's funny is I've had these since I was like a little kid, and they're like, they still work.
That's pretty cool. I remember those. I remember getting some of those, like for stocking stuffers or something like that.
Hex bug. Oh, the dog is so scared of it. I like put it near the dog, and she immediately jumped off the bed. and was like, no, no, no.
I don't know what the fuck that is, but I don't like it.
Yeah. Okay. What were you what were we talking about?
The vegetable oil.
Oh.
The vegetable oil shenanigans.
How we're all gonna die.
Yeah.
How we're all being poisoned by vegetable oil.
Yeah. Cause like I just think there just keeps being these things that have it ends up that they've basically been buried for decades. Not like a few years, but decades. You know, like the way the sugar industry suppressed like studies and stuff and pushed attention onto to fat in the diet so that everybody was hyper fixated on that for like decades, and then the findings come out, but nobody really talks about it. I mean, people try, but it just doesn't ever really
No,
get
but by the
into,
time it comes out, it's too late.
yeah.
It's too ingrained. And then it's too hard to get people to like it's too hard to get people to read new information and accept it.
Yeah.
People are just so quick to being like, well, that can't be true. That
Yeah.
absolutely not.
Like, well, and the government wouldn't do that. They wouldn't like knowingly blah blah blah. It's like the reasoning that I see in the gallbladder Reddit subreddit where there's a person that will come in and post basically about the fact that there are ways that you can save your gallbladder if you have gallstones, and people come in and go, "No, like that's not scientific because why would they remove it if there was a better option?" But
Money.
literally they started removing them without knowing what it did to the body, and people didn't die, so they went, oh, this is an easy solution, and that's become what's affordable to the insurance company. So now that there are other ways, like there's a surgery you can get that will remove gallstones and keep your gallbladder, and insurance doesn't cover it. You have to pay for it out of pocket. So there are people who literally fly to like Vietnam and China to get it done because it's only a few $1,000s there. And here it's like 28,000 or something. But it's not an option. There's medications you can take. They just go, oh, we're just going to rip it out. And everyone goes, well, that must be the best thing for your health, except that they never did studies to understand what happens to the body when they remove the gallbladder until the last couple years. So literally,
Yep.
and then people just push back. Oh, it must be the right thing to do. No, you're trusting a system that, yeah, it's like
I mean, it's like literally like they're trusting a system that used to just remove lymph nodes.
yeah,
Like we don't do that anymore unless you have to,
yeah,
because it leads to people getting like edema.
yep, yeah, and tonsils, and
You used to just remove stuff just casually, and it's gone.
yep, because they didn't like stop to understand what things did, and it's that's like, and then we have to self-correct for that, and yeah, so our food industry is just absolutely just riddled with this stuff, and it's
Yeah. I mean, the food industry is fucked so bad, so much, and even like there's smaller things where it's like people are like, oh, well, food has a lot of salt in it to help preserve it. That's sometimes true, but there's a lot of food that doesn't need help being preserved that has salt in it to mask flavors, like mask the taste of metal.
yeah,
And like it's just, I mean, it's a cycle of how to trick the consumer.
yeah. Well, like Dave, when he worked at Berkeley Farms, doing the milk stuff, one of his responsibilities was to taste milk that was old and add stuff to it to see if he could get it to not taste old, to basically get the shelf life longer,
Yep. Which is
and
just disgusting.
it's absolutely disgusting. And it's like, yeah, okay, maybe it's safe, but are they actually looking at it to see what's happening when it's at that age? They're not. They're just going, well, it tastes okay.
Yep. Does it taste okay? Go ahead. It's like people used to add borax to milk. It was like very common practice. Oh, your milk is spoiling.
Now.
I know people started doing it again. Where, but in the back in like Victorian era, people would add borax to just like everything and be like, oh, milk is expiring, borax, and it's like you're literally poisoning yourself.
Yeah.
And now people are doing it again because people are fucking stupid.
I don't understand. Like,
there's this the funny thing about vegetable oils is that vegetable oils were first made as basically lubricant for vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
And the same vegetable oil that was made as lubricant for vehicles is what we now use in cooking. And you can say, oh, well, yeah, but there's plenty of things you could eat and use for other things. And that's true. But the issue is that our bodies aren't made to digest it. So it's our bodies are using a portion of the vegetable oil that mimics what would normally be in, like, let's say like lard. I think the primary issue is the omega-6. There's too much of it.
Yeah.
And
And it,
that's the issue, is that the balance of vegetable oils is just not, it doesn't match what we eat naturally, because you're basically taking hundreds of times of something you would eat naturally and condensing it into this tiny liquid that you then use a generous portion of.
yeah.
And
I
so
think
instead of,
I think the number I remember seeing was they were saying that the recommended sort of safe ratio of omega-6 to 3 is 5 to 1.
and
But
that's
it's and
generous.
people on average get 50 to 1.
Yeah. I think it's the studies were showing that we used to have pretty close to 1 to 1, and then in some communities they'd have closer to like 1 to 3, and that was
Mhm.
fine. The nowadays, even people who try and reduce and have less tend to have a minimum of 1 to 16 times.
Yeah.
And it's just it's excess, and people will be like, oh, well, omega-6 is good for you, right? And it's like, but you get into the same thing where it's like, there was that guy who used to eat 3 pounds of licorice every day, and then he died because he was eating too much licorice.
Mhm.
It's not that the licorice is bad for him, it's that he's eating fucking too much.
Yeah.
It's like it's like people who drown to death by drinking too much water. There's such thing as too much.
Yeah.
And
And
that's
it's
the
hard,
issue.
and it's like you can't moderate the amounts when they're using the vegetable oil in our foods because there's just too much. There's no way to
Yeah.
like
Yeah, and that is the primary issue with the vegetable oil. It's not the vegetable oil you use at home. And that's kind of the issue I've had talking with people about, is they're like, well, what am I supposed to use? And it's like, okay, well, obviously there are things you could use differently, but it's really not about that vegetable oil you use at home, because that's very small compared to the vegetable oil that's already in your pre-processed food. The amount of vegetable oil in your chips, the amount of vegetable oil in literally any sauce, mayonnaise, any sort of salsa, and Alfredo sauce, tomato
bread.
sauce, bread, they all just have this pre-used amount, a large quantity of vegetable oil that is replacing what normally would be like lard or butter or that sort of thing. And the amount of omega-6 you get from it is too much. And then you also get like a considerable amount more of linoleic acid. Like the linoleic acid content of stuff like butter and lard is 10% or less, usually less. On average, it's usually 2% to 5%. But stuff like canola oil, which is actually one of the least harmful of the vegetable oils besides olive oil, is like 20%. And then you start going up from there, and you get stuff like sunflower oil, which is like 55 to like 60%. And you get stuff like cottonseed oil, which is like 95%.
Yeah.
And we're just literally not made to process it. And
Yeah.
there's more recent studies, previous studies in the past, when vegetable oil first started entering into the market for use as a food item. Even studies back then, which some of them would be considered unethical by today's standards, were showing that people just had a higher mortality rate if they used vegetable oils instead of, at the time, what was traditional, which was butter and lard and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And studies nowadays are showing that things like our mitochondria begin to function less effectively because they're taking the proteins out of the vegetable oil and putting it into their processes. And while they match the spot, they don't actually perform the process they're supposed to. So it breaks the ATP cycle.
Yeah. That's interesting. I thought that one video that you sent me on it, I thought it was interesting. They were talking about that study that they did in the old person's home where they had like the two different groups. But the thing that they mentioned in the video that really like stood out was basically that like heart disease was not a common issue.
Yeah.
Until this stuff started being basically until our foods changed to how they are in the last 100 years, basically.
Yeah, you're always going to get dissent about that, where it's like, well, it was just unreported or things like that. But there's, at the very least, there is definitely evidence to show that there is more heart disease.
Yeah.
And a lot of people try and blame it on stuff like sedentarism, and it's might be part of it, but the rate of increase does not match.
Yeah.
And
it's not like everybody was out exercising back when, you know, they were
anything,
working and, you know, being exposed to charcoal and whatever the fuck, like just, yeah.
Yeah. And then, also the rate of heart disease, the rate of Alzheimer's, like Alzheimer's was like very rare before the advent of vegetable oil, and now it's pretty common.
Yeah.
Comparably.
Yeah.
And there's the Israel or Israel paradox, where it's like the nation uses the most vegetable oils of any nation, and yet somehow they have the highest rate of heart disease, Alzheimer's, and obesity.
Mm-hmm. Which,
and it's
like when you start taking the information, it's not actually a paradox.
Yeah, it's all a paradox. It's just that the information we had was
well, it's vegetable oil. Vegetables are healthy, so therefore
biased and wrong. You know.
Yeah. Well, it's like that. The studies around like the anti-inflammatory diet, and that data is pretty interesting too, because I don't, it's like treated like this novel thing. Well, if you do the anti-inflammatory, you know, but then it's, I just love the anti-inflammatory diet's kind of more like how we should be eating anyways, you know?
Oh yeah. And just so like people listening could like go read about this stuff on their own. A good like starting point, if you wanted to go look at like PubMed Central or some other journal site, there's intake of omega-6 polyunsaturated fatty acid rich vegetable oils and risk of lifestyle diseases is a good start. That was a 2020 journal.
You send me the link and I'll add it to the episode description. I have the overconsumption of omega-6 polyunsaturated fatty acids versus deficiency of omega-3 in modern day diets, the disturbing factor for their balanced antagonistic metabolic functions in the human body. I have that one.
Yeah, that one's good too. And it's one of those things that like obviously you can hear us say whatever the fuck we want to say, but you should go read the journals and make your own opinion. And some of the journals are hefty in sciencey words. So, but if you just read it and look up the couple words you don't know, it starts making sense.
Yeah. I think they're important conversations to have.
Happy 420.
Oh yeah. 420. In case you guys don't know, it's 4:20 p.m. It's not April 20th. But yeah, I just think like it's stuff that needs to be talked about. But I like was trying to, because you know, I eat reasonably well, but I was like, oh, you know, I'm gonna try to like get more stuff that has less of that stuff in it. And even at like Sprouts and stuff, it's so hard to find.
Yeah, because it's still considered healthy.
Yeah.
And even now, there's this thing where there's one of the more recent fads is sunflower oil, and people are like, "Oh, it's this health thing. It'll, great for your health and all this." And it's actually one of the more offensive of the vegetable oils.
Yeah.
It's not the most, but it's pretty high up there.
Yeah.
It's considered one of the bad ones.
Yeah, I remember like when I was doing the low histamine diet, instead of the anti-inflammatory, sunflower oil is considered low histamine or whatever. But I just, every time I ate anything with it, I didn't feel well. And I don't know if that was my gallbladder or whatever. So I just started avoiding it anyways. I use avocado oil. And I'll buy, like, sometimes I find breads where they use olive oil or something, but I usually get Ezekiel bread and they don't use oils at all. So, and that,
avocado oil's good too. Not I think olive oil is the lowest. That
yeah, as
one's
long as you store it, as long as you
yeah.
store it well.
Yeah, you store it well and you get extra virgin.
Yeah.
If it's not extra virgin, then it's about as bad as the others. There's extra virgin, and then avocado oil is one of those ones where it kind of varies, but that one's usually below 20%, so it's usually better than canola oil. And then the best though is coconut oil. It's like 0%. And if you get the right one, you really can't taste it. Or you just butter. But you gotta make sure it's actual butter.
And it's grass fed.
Yeah.
That makes
there's
like, yeah.
bare minimum, check the ingredients, because there's butter where they add oil.
Yep.
To make it.
Yep. And then like what the cow eats actually makes a big difference in terms of the makeup of what comes from the cow and the nutrition of the cow. Like grass fed makes a difference.
I do not remember the exact numbers anymore, but it was like they found that the difference between organic and unorganic vegetables and stuff, negligent. Sometimes it was even, erring on the side of conventional. Obviously, it doesn't take into pesticides or anything like that, but organic food still uses pesticides.
Yeah.
But the main thing is that for organic, grass-fed animal products, they found that they, on average, were, I think it was like 56% higher in good nutrition. I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was significantly better for you.
Yeah.
To eat grass-fed butter, grass-fed meat. Eggs were actually not significant. The difference was not significant, but I don't think chickens get a particularly different diet either way.
Yeah, they just kind of eat whatever.
Yeah.
And
the stuff they normally eat is kind of cheap anyway, so
yeah. And the interesting thing is for beef products, that if they're grass fed, this is it from what I read, it also applies to like bison and stuff, but if it's grass fed, then it's the like the butter and stuff is anti-inflammatory, but if it's grain fed, it's not.
Yeah.
So.
I remember reading about that too. There's a whole bunch of things like that where it's like just the way you take care of it changes it all.
Yeah. And then there's the whole feeding cows plastic thing.
Which is just so bizarre.
It's like why?
Oh, expired bread, a loaf of bread. Let's just throw the whole thing in the grinder, plastic sheath and all. Like, dude, just take the 5 seconds to cut the sheath off and dump it in at least.
Right? It's so rude. It's rude to the cows. Like basic respect for these animals that are going to be sacrificing themselves for us. The hell,
bruh.
But yeah, grass is not that hard to grow. I don't really understand
I don't know. We have so much grass too.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that, like,
It's more work to move them around, but
the financial benefit of feeding them expired food because it's cheaper than grass. But if you're gonna do it, just fucking take the plastic off.
yeah.
And don't feed them candy. There's that one fucking video. I don't know if you saw that video.
I remember you. I don't know if I saw it, but I remember you talking about
I'm gonna
it.
look it up right now for you because that shit's
right.
messy.
Yeah, I think like there needs to be like information. Like if you're gonna buy steak and it's not grass fed, like grass fed should be the default. And if you're gonna get the cheap shit that doesn't have good nutrition, there should be like a sticker on it that goes, "This is the cheap shit that doesn't have good nutrition." Like this is garbage steak. This is good, like healthy steak. But instead, they're like, "Oh, well, you're gonna get grass fed beef. You're gonna be rich." I hate that like eating healthy is a privilege,
Yeah.
Shouldn't be. It should be a privilege to have access to like the bad stuff, like the Cheetos and
Hey, Cheetos.
and Dr. Pepper and things like that.
Yeah.
The world is backwards.
I just keep finding people talking about it, but I'm not finding the fucking video.
Show us a video.
Show me what you got. Come on. Load.
While you're looking for that, I'll talk about this. There's a paper I read that scientists uncover extraordinary impact of high-fat diet on anxiety via gut-brain axis. So it says when feeling stressed, many people reach for comfort foods high in fat and sugar. However, a recent study from the University of Colorado suggests that this coping mechanism may be counterproductive. Published in the journal Biological Research, the study found that in animals, a high-fat diet can disrupt gut bacteria, alter behavior, and affect brain chemicals in ways that promote anxiety. And it basically just goes on to sort of explain that, which I think it's going to be really interesting to see as we continue to understand the way that what we eat in our environment impacts our gut, how that impacts the rest of our health, because it just seems kind of obvious that it would have an impact on so many different things. But I'm like, yes, keep studying. Yes.
Okay, here it is.
Tweaking the recipe for success. You can see candy
in wrappers.
So yep. he's like, it's hard to believe it will work. And dude looks like he knows full well what candy does.
Yeah. I'm just like, in the fucking wrappers.
Oh my God. Like my stomach. I feel angry. Like,
why is it in the wrapper still?
I don't even just like feeding them candy to begin with. But yeah, the fact that they can't even be bothered to not take it out of the wrapper. And I mean, and it just,
I love.
There's no I don't. You mentioned like a while ago that people were feeding.
What are you looking at?
But that people are giving sunflower oil to milk cows or something.
Yes, yeah, feeding the sunflower oil to milk cows to impart it onto their milk.
Except that's not how it works.
It's not.
Oh, it's like barista. They're trying to do the barista milk at the source, Brehn.
Yeah, it just doesn't work. Yeah, it's actually really common for milks that are labeled as barista milk to have sunflower oil in it.
Yeah,
because the oil helps it keep the foam, the froth.
I was looking at this brand of creamer, and they don't have like added sweetener or oils. And then I looked at the barista line because I figured it would be a little creamier, and it had sunflower oil in it. Yep. And I was like, what the fuck, man?
It's I've now realized that barista just means sunflower oil. That's literally all they do to change it for like everything I've seen.
Like,
Alex is coming over.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're gonna watch the original Alien movies So then we'll be ready to go see Romulus.
I want to see what ramen is.
I know, I do too.
I don't know when whenever it's on streaming and free, basically.
Yeah, that's pretty much everything else I've been watching is just that. But
Yeah.
I will go see that one in theaters.
I was looking at like matinees, but they're all at like 3 p.m. Somebody online she went to matinee, but it was like 8 in the morning. So she said there was no one there. And I was like, I would do that,
Yeah,
but I haven't seen that option anywhere.
I don't even think a lot of movie theaters don't even open till like mid-afternoon.
Yeah.
Yeah, he watched the other two, the new two, at one of his friend's house, so I don't have to show him those anymore.
Okay. That's cool. I remember being so excited because like I wanted to watch those movies with you, but you weren't ready yet, right?
No.
So when you got to the age that you were like, okay, I'm ready to watch those movies, I was so excited to watch them with you.
Yeah. No, I would have been too scared.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was always really important to me to respect your tolerance for things like in that regard, because I wanted you to be able to enjoy stuff, not have horrible trauma responses to them, like the phone booth movie.
Oh God.
You were
Yeah,
like
the phone booth movie.
you were upset about that movie for a while. Like
Dude, it was so fucked up. I hate the fucking movie. It was like all the things I hate were in one movie. The fucking what was that called? The
suspense of
it's like when people misattribute something to you and are treating you away and you have no control over it type of thing.
because they won't listen at all.
Hate
Yeah.
Hate
Yeah.
it. It's like,
Yeah. I just remember going and seeing World War Z with you, and then we both were like like I was so sore after that because like
yeah.
it
All
was
the
like
jump.
yeah, and the thing is it wasn't that I was actually scared. I knew what was going to happen. The suspense buildup was super obvious, but it still caused this like visceral reaction. So all my muscles were sore, my stomach hurt, and it wasn't enjoyable. It's like I don't mind when stuff is scary. I don't even mind if there's suspense if it's like woven into the story. And that movie completely relied on you just sitting there waiting for it, going, I know it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen, and then and then it finally happens. It just
Yeah, you remember
very
in
fun.
the remake of Evil Dead where the lady cuts her tongue in two?
Kind of.
That I remember we went and saw that movie, and it was just there's so many scenes where it's like, you're like you want to like rip your skin off because it's like,
Yeah.
oh,
It's so
God.
uncomfortable. I was really disappointed with that movie. I don't know. I a lot of people like it, and it was boring. It didn't have I think it
Well,
should have
it
had a
was just
different name.
it was
That's
very
it.
generic.
Yeah, it was just a horror film. Whereas the other ones, yeah, it was a horror film, but they had like wrapped this humor into it that like, and so the more recent one, they have more of the humor so it was like more of a mix, but and it was okay, but it was like, I don't know, it just
It
didn't vibe
didn't
right.
have the magic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, even the TV series was awesome and cheese.
it was very cheesy.
Yeah.
I
But
don't think I watched all of it. I watched a fair amount.
it was like just cheese.
Yeah.
But the favorite scene of the TV show is when they're in the morgue and like the corpse comes alive and he's like wrestling with it. It's like his groin is like right. He's like,
Oh yeah.
ah.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Yeah.
A movie I'm not gonna be seeing, or I'm going to be legally finding online. Borderlands, the movie. Yeah, I'm gonna legally find it online so we can watch it at the cabin because I don't understand who the movie was made for, because it wasn't made for people who
People that
played
played it.
Borderlands.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even made for like normies.
Yeah. I
Like
don't.
the casting decisions didn't work for anyone. It was like these casting decisions where you're like, the people played the game are like, well, that doesn't make sense. And then
Yeah,
people who didn't,
the only one
they-
that made sense was Tannis. Like,
yeah, that was like the closest one.
yeah.
Everyone else was, Krieg was fine, but you could just have any musclehead play Krieg. But
Yeah.
it was just like Kevin Hart as Roland,
Wrong vibe.
little funny guy as the straight man.
Yeah, the big like stoic
Aw.
guy that like and the thing
Could have
is
been
like,
like Idris Elba or something.
right? Like he literally like his he stood out so much from all the other characters who were all kind of insane. Like his insanity was the fact that he was so straight. So like just,
Yeah, normal.
you know? Yeah.
Like
Like
he
he
could
was like,
be a different game.
yeah, like he is like the only normal person and everybody else was super quirky. And so that was like a really important part of the like dynamic and stuff. And then like they're just like, nah, we're just gonna
Kevin
no.
Hart. Guys, let's just basically take the cast from like the new Jumanji movies and all of those movies and just and I love Jack Black, but like he is getting casted too much.
Yeah.
It's not Claptrap.
No.
It's one of those roles. They should have just had the fucking original guy come do it.
Yeah.
Because he does. There's no.
Yeah.
But
Like
God
why?
forbid they pay him. You know.
No, poor guy.
Fucking exactly why he wasn't in fucking Borderlands 3 is because they don't want to pay him.
But they'll pay Jack Black, which is rude.
And they'll pay some random guy, but
yeah. So rude.
also Kate Blanchett, she too old. No
Yeah.
offense. She
Yeah.
too old to
She
be-
is, and it's not
And the
it's
sirens are like magic and are supposed to like
never age, basically.
yeah,
Right?
like why'd you make someone who look old?
Plus she was supposed to be dating Roland. So, you know, that's a whole thing. Kevin Hart, Kate Blanchett.
Yeah.
You know? It's just it's just what I like is that they knew it wasn't going to do well. And so they were like, let's announce the next game. You know, like they had that planned.
Yeah, but that's what I don't understand. Like, why even make? I guess to write it off. I don't fucking know.
Okay, so Borderlands 3 was pretty disappointing for the most part. People were kind of about it.
Yeah, it was.
And then so they come out with this really awful movie. So people's expectations are so fucking low, right? Between 3 and the movie that like they announce another game. It's like
no one's even gonna like. Not like everyone I know is just like a game.
Yeah.
Like
I feel like they're just gonna build the curiosity and maybe they'll give people like
if I hear after it comes out and other people play it that's good, then I will probably buy it on sale at some point.
Yeah. I like loved those games so much, and 3 just killed the franchise for me.
It killed it for me. It literally because one of my friends was talking about the like Tiny Tina standalone one and how that one's good, and I hear it's good and I'm just like no interest.
I have it and I've never played it.
I just can't. It's like killed it.
Yeah.
I'm literally just like, why would I play it?
Yeah.
Borderlands 3 was so bad.
Yeah, Tiny Tina was never one of my favorite characters anyway, so like a lot of people really liked her, but it was too
annoying,
too forced.
Yeah.
So.
She's good in small doses, but it reached this point. I remember Borderlands 2 where I was like, please no more Tiny Tina missions. Please.
Yeah.
Because they're just so annoying.
They're just playing on that quirk trope too hard. And yeah, just like meh.
Yeah. Like, yeah, no.
Yeah. Like, and that was like with 3, the angsty teenager thing was just like, come on. Yeah.
I'm old now.
That they didn't adapt to what the rest of the video game industry has figured out, and that's that they don't need to objectify the female characters, right?
Yeah.
They can still have them be sexy, they can still have cleavage, but they don't need to do the whole hyper focus framing thing. And they like were still doing that. And I was like, did you guys not notice what the rest of the industry has done like 5 years before this game came out? Like,
Yeah.
so
Dude, honestly, it was like the whole fucking cast of the Borderlands movie was just like way older than they should have been. Like, I'm looking at
Yeah.
all these people, they're so fucking old.
I'm wondering if it was like a project of love, or sometimes like people just get together and do something just because they want to do it, and it's not really about, like you just see that sometimes actors like dive
Yeah.
into a movie just because they want to. It's fun for them. And I was wondering if, because it's just such a weird, like, who decided, that the trailers I watched were so cringe. Like even the claptrap vibe was just super wrong. And I just don't understand how they could, if they're making the movie for people to watch who like the game or might be interested in the game, why would they make it feel so off?
I don't,
Like
yeah,
that.
don't know.
Don't understand.
I don't understand. What the hell going on?
When you guys go in the cabin?
Probably in like December.
Oh, okay. I wish I had a friend with a cabin.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's pretty cute. Oh yeah, so I was like, I was reading this article about the job industry and all the AI bot shit and all that. My housemate has had a bunch of, like, he basically started looking for a job, and he's had like an interview at almost every place he's applied at. And I was like, that is, I know people that have like applied at like 1,000 jobs,
Yeah,
and they
like
haven't
it's
heard.
bizarre. It's when
Yeah.
you were telling me about all the interviews he was getting, I was just like,
Yeah, he's got a follow-up interview for the one he just had. They said they'll call him in 2 weeks, and they already called him to have him come in. And I'm just like, I'm like, if you get this job, you are more lucky than 99% of the people on the job market, because the job market is flooded with like fake shit and ghost shit.
like trying to look if like was there something where people were talking about it and be like, oh yeah, I really wanted to be in the Borderlands movie, okay, man.
Oh yeah, you're trying to see if you can find if you could find the reason for why the Borderlands movie exists in the way that it exists with the cast that it does. Yeah, so while you're doing that, you guys were listening. There was basically there's a whole bunch of the jobs that are out there. So if you go looking for a job, they're not real. They're just job listings that are kept open. So the excuse that was given is the company was always open to new people, but it's one of the other reasons given is to give the impression that the company is growing and to keep current employees motivated. And then some places are just like, we just keep it open just cause. So basically there's all these jobs out there that they're not really available, so you're taking all this time to like get your resume ready and send it in and do the cover letter or whatever it is you do for, your position that you're looking at. And it's just not, you're never going to hear from them. And then the other issue that was found was sort of like ghost listing. Those are like ghost listings, but there's these bots and stuff that go through and like copy these job positions, and just they're getting like spread onto all these other sites and stuff, job post scraping basically. It's a hot mess. I'm going to include a link because I think it's anybody that's like in the job market, and I'm not explaining it really well, but anybody who's in the job market should learn about it to better understand kind of what they're dealing with, and part of why it's so frustrating trying to find a job, and that's ignoring all the economical concerns and that companies are being, more picky about who they hire, and it just feels like everything has gotten harder. Like everything has gotten harder in the last couple of years.
which is funny because technology was supposed to make stuff easier.
Yeah. but this like the scraping technology it makes everything annoying everywhere. I complain about it all the time. I mean,
being
it's
used
just
against us.
yeah.
All these things that should be making our lives easier are just being used against us.
Yeah, it just creates so much noise, and the average person doesn't know how to recognize and navigate that stuff,
Yep.
And
And now we have Google AI and all these AIs that pop up whenever you search something and are straight up giving you false information.
Yep.
And majority of people are probably going to not know that.
Yep.
And also it uses like a gajillion energy per AI search. Like it's such a fucking waste.
Yeah. The only thing I want AI to do for me is tell me how long to cook the salmon at 375. That's it. And it won't do that because they
And
want
it's wrong.
Yeah, they want you to click on the recipes and scroll all the way down.
Yep. Plus, even if it did tell you, it'd probably tell you 2 hours. And then it comes out all burnt and fucked, and you're like, what
right?
the fuck?
Dude, I did a search. I was doing a search when my thyroid went wackadoo, and I was searching for high T4, low TSH, and the AI actually said that was hypothyroidism. And I was like, what? And then I went down and started looking, and no, that's hyperthyroidism. The AI was literally wrong. It was pulling from a website that said it wrong.
Yep. Classic.
Yeah. Did you find anything of interest?
No. I found zero information of why
It's a secret.
Yeah. It's a secret.
They want us to wonder.
Just huh?
Why, guys?
Oh. Hi guys.
So, because you've been part of why I had the articles, because you've been looking for work, so and that hasn't been going.
I apply to jobs every day, and I get nothing. Even like Starbucks isn't hiring people in most areas. And these jobs are like, oh yeah, we need people. Are you hiring? Yeah. You apply? No. It's just a bunch of lies. They're like, yeah, we need people and we're hiring, but we're not gonna hire anyone. So
what about Costco?
I applied.
Okay. I've heard they're a good employer, so I would imagine they don't have a lot of turnover.
They have a lot of seasonal turnover.
Okay.
Because they hire people seasonally and then they let most of them go.
That's annoying. Yeah. What is that noise? Ah.
Different bug.
A different bug. You saw my post on TikTok with the house centipede.
Yeah.
I don't see cockroaches at all anymore. I'm guessing some of it's because it dried out, so they're staying outside. But now I'm seeing the house centipedes probably because they're like, where are the cockroaches?
Yeah. Yeah, the cockroaches, they don't actually want to be in your house. They want to be outside, guys. There is only one genus of cockroach that wants to be in your house, and it does not live in California. It is the nasty ones that kind of look like little pills that are like black and white banded. All those brown ones are they want to live outside. They want to live in like leaf piles. They don't want to be in your house unless it's raining. Then they want to be in your house.
That's why I just try to keep our kitchen clean so there's nothing for them. So that way, if they do come in, they don't settle in because there's nothing there.
Yeah. And house centipedes, they're awful and they're scary, but they won't hurt you and they eat cockroaches. So yeah, I don't know why you're seeing them. It's kind of weird.
I've never seen them. I didn't even know they existed. And now they
usually hide. You don't usually see them.
Yeah.
I even here at grandma's, like, I don't see them.
Yeah. I always wonder if maybe because they spray outside or something, there's just not a lot of safe spaces for them. I don't know. I have no idea. They might have also bug bombed next door.
Oh. Yeah.
So I'm assuming they wouldn't give us a heads up for that. So
Yeah. So house centipedes are kind of like the opposite of like other bugs, where house centipedes live in areas of high moisture. So they like to live in loose bark, rotting logs, under stones, in trash, in piles of leaves and grass. So that's
bugs.
where all the stuff they want to eat. When they invade homes, house centipedes are most commonly found in damp basements, crawl spaces, bathrooms, or potted plants. You're most likely to find one in your toilet bowl.
I have not found one in my toilet bowl. Found a baby one on the wall in the kitchen, and then one downstairs on the front room wall, and
Yeah,
a dead one on my fan.
that's a little weird. Yeah, maybe it was the bug bomb, just like drove them in.
Yeah. Just they got a lot of legs.
They have too many legs, too
Yeah.
many very long.
Well, and
legs.
they're like all different lengths.
Yeah.
It's like somebody feathered them, kind of like
Each
how
one's
my
a
hair's
different
cut.
length, and it goes like
Yeah. Exactly. It's like how it's
And if you think about it, you're like, oh yeah, that is just what a centipede looks like. But this one's just got really big legs that like
they're like the
tower
grandpa
over its body.
eyebrow centipedes.
Yeah, grandpa centipedes.
Yeah. Should change the name.
I've got so many grandpa centipedes out here.
In my day.
Nowadays. That's like there's these little tiny cockroaches that the three-lined cockroach, Lura deblata triviatata. It is the smallest cockroach species in California, with adults averaging only 5 to 7 millimeters.
Tiny.
And they're commonly misidentified. They are cockroaches, but they're usually, people call them beetles. But they are native to North Africa and the Eastern Mediterranean. They came here in 2004 in Marin County, and they are everywhere. They are invasive, and they are everywhere.
So they're
But
new.
you don't find them indoors. They're just they live in thatch, compost bins, leaf litter, and I hate looking at pictures of cockroaches. Like these little guys are fine, but it was showing me like other ones in comparison. I didn't like that.
I remember those ones when I lived in San Jose that would be out on the street, and it's like you could put a leash on them.
Oh God,
they're so
they're
big.
So
I was like,
big, so
look
big.
at the hell.
It's like in Davis in Sacramento, they got the fucking huge cockroaches. It's like, meh.
Yep. I'm hoping those spiders coming over that have started on the East Coast that came from Japan just take their time getting here.
Oh God, they're so big. They're so awful.
Yeah.
Luckily, only the babies fly.
Yeah. But they have they have like the strong webs.
Yeah. The asshole webs.
Yeah.
They're just gonna end up replacing orb weavers, which are the ones we currently have here that make fat ass webs.
Yeah. They like the garbage cans for some reason.
Yeah. They love the garbage cans. That's where all the flies are.
Yep. Well, that's true, huh? I didn't really think about that. Dude.
So they're feeding on juices.
But they're so big.
Yeah, they're way too big.
I keep telling I'm like, I don't know why I have to spread the bad news, but I keep telling them like there's spider invading.
It's funny, they're called a pest, but when you look into the actual like pest part, they don't actually do anything. So they're like,
why are they a pest then if they don't really
they don't do anything.
They just help with decomposition stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of, they don't even come inside. The worst thing about them is that they look similar. They can be misidentified as the German cockroach, which is the bad one. It's the one that lives exclusively indoors. But the German cockroach is awful and larger and brown with black stripes, while the three-lined cockroaches are more like yellow with black stripes.
And why are the German ones are awful because they come indoors, or do they?
So the German ones they only live inside. German cockroaches, are they dangerous? Yes, they are very dangerous to having invading your home. They carry a large number of viruses, bacteria, parasites on their bodies and in their feces, which can cause diarrhea, dysentery, salmonella, and other serious health concerns.
That's
So basically,
awful.
oh god, why would they use such a big picture? German cockroaches are bad because they carry diseases.
They're dirty.
Yep, they're dirty. They breed very quickly. They can live in very small cracks, and they live in like everything, man. They are a potent little guy.
So they just don't like the weather here, or what? Like, why aren't they here?
We treat for them is the main reason why they aren't native here. They're not even native in like New York, but they got brought over there when people are emigrating, and they made a foothold before we get rid of them.
So they're around, but they're just
they're around, but you just don't see them as much.
That's good. I saw a tweet the other day where there was a case of a couple people getting sick from a mosquito illness, but the person didn't know because they just responded to the headline. The headline just said, 12 people, blah, 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 illness. And so I looked up the illness because I hadn't heard of it before, but it was a mosquito one. And they were kind of freaking out about it like it was another pandemic or something. I was like, oh no, this is a whole other thing because we've been getting more dengue fever in the US because we don't have good mosquito control systems in place, which we need as it gets warmer and the disease carrying mosquitoes start to propagate more and travel further. And, that's a whole like area of concern.
Here's a good one that people will remember. The German cockroach is the cockroach that was in Men in Black. The big alien guy who turned into a cockroach creature.
Oh yeah.
And the cockroaches that they were stepping on stuff, those are German cockroaches.
Okay. It's interesting that they were so specific with what type of cockroach.
Yeah. They so nasty, bro.
Yeah.
Oh god. A bunch
Give me
of
some sugar.
They spread bacteria, parasitic worms, and other human pathogens.
Just gross.
Yeah. People were also commonly allergic to them. The proteins in their saliva, droppings, and decomposing bodies are a common allergen for people.
Wow.
And can trigger asthma in children.
See, that I've heard about, but I didn't know it was a specific cockroach. I just thought it was cockroaches in general had a asthma.
Yeah, it's
component.
Specifically the German ones. I think it's because of the density that they breed in.
It's gross. Bugs are important, but
not these ones. Not these ones.
Well, they're important because they try to control our breeding. We're like at war with them. They're trying to kill us while we're trying to kill them.
Guys.
You're still looking at them.
They're nasty. See, the nice thing about those little guys I was talking about that live on detritus, they breed once a year outside. These little guys breed
all the time,
like every 2 months. Yeah, their life's it's like 2 fucking months.
It's like the worse something is, the more aggressive they tend to be.
Yeah, literally, it's like 2 months. Like literally, they come out of the egg. 2 months later, they are sexually mature and they can lay eggs again, and then it just restarts. It's like 2 months. That's awful. And they lay so many. Oh.
They're going to be the ones. They're going to be the ones that I honestly, okay, I was like thinking about this the other day. I was thinking like if we died off, the next sentient species could be ants.
Oh my god. And because we have poisoned them so much, there's a genus now that refuses to eat sugar. And so it just avoids bait because
Wow.
bait is usually sweetened.
That's like the ants that came from South America that are up here. They avoid the common baits. Like they just walk around it and stuff. I'm like, what the hell, man? Why are you so smart? They're like, me and them. They killed our cousins. It's so weird. They're like, it was just that one. There was like that batch of eggs that just had the right genes flipped so that they aren't attracted to sugar, and that was enough to allow there to be like a new subgenre of cockroaches.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Nature's amazing.
I'm trying to figure out where they live, and it's kind of like everywhere. They live everywhere. They are everywhere. Ugh. And while they don't, they can't survive in severe cold because they evolved in Germany by living with us. They would come inside during winter, and that's how they became inside bugs. That means now they can just live anywhere we do.
Yep.
I'm
Like, oh, there's a new apartment building. You have to start feeding them sandwiches or something if they don't like sugar.
Yeah, the issue is that because they don't eat sugar, it's hard to bait them because there's nothing you can put out that they'll just run to. So you just have to be like lucky, but that also means that enough will live that they can reproduce.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's enough of cockroach talk.
You got sucked in there a bit.
Yeah.
No, my printer's almost here. My replacement printer is coming today.
Printer. Is it the same one or did you get a different one?
Same one. There isn't a better one out there. I looked at like other models, but they it was like $100 less. And I was like, why don't I? It's being covered by the warranty, so just get the new printer. I get to start fresh and because I ran out of stickers for my shop, so now I'll be able to make some more.
What's up, Alex?
Hi, Alex.
Hi, Alex.
Open the.
All right. Well,
What's up, man?
thanks for hanging out and
Not much.
stuff. And
I.
bye.
Bye. Love you.
Gang.
Alex.
Gang.
Hello.